we're hitting the road. Jumbo TIA. This is Africa. Do I look like I'm in Africa? Probably not. Does this look like it could be a hotel room in Africa? Possibly. But yes, I am in Africa. I am currently in Zanzibar, Tanzania. If you're new around here, my name's Lisa. In this vlog, I am going to summarize an intrepid trip that I did. 4 weeks gallivanting my way around Africa, camping. I went through Uganda, Kenya and Tanzania. It was the Gorillas game parks and beaches tour. I am ending out my time here in Zanzibar. I am still in Africa, and I'm going to summarize my trip. What I did, what I saw, what I liked, what I didn't like, maybe some hints and tips for you guys. This is just my experience, my input, my suggestions, idea, my experiences, my feelings, etc, etc. So I'm going to start from the beginning. So I have got a notepad just so I don't forget anything, because I want to cover everything in this trip. So Gorillas game parks and beaches, it's 27 days. It is a basics trip, which means camping. Camping also means you have to pitch in and help out with some of the duties. I have booked with Intrepid before, and the reason I booked this trip is I want something that can combine, I've done Africa before, South Africa, and I wanted to do another safari, and what better way to do it than do Serengeti and Maasai. And then I also wanted to do the Gorillas. So I found this trip, one big long 4-week, 27 days trip around Africa. Now it don't come cheap. It is a little bit expensive if you're looking to do a long trip this size. You can split the tour, so you can do a gorilla tour, you can just do the game parks, but this one I wanted to wham it out in one big go, boom, done and dusted. So Gorillas game parks and beaches I've done Intrepid before, so I knew what they were like and what sort of styles. Basics, original, and I think they have an upper class one. I'm not sure what that one is, but I've never booked one of those. I've only ever booked the basics, which is it's cheaper because you're doing most of camping. Yep, you're gonna be in a tent, right? You're gonna be tenting it in Africa. I booked this in February, so I would suggest looking out for Intrepid sales because they do have them. I booked this one around about February. I've been looking at this tour for moons, many moons. So I looked for sales. I have booked a single supplement, which I did pay extra for. Now someone did give the hot tip, don't book a single supplement, and when you rock up on the tour, you might just get lucky and you don't need to share. Yeah, I don't want to do that. I'm not tenting with no one for 4 weeks, not a chance. But let me start from the beginning. So obviously Gorillas game parks and beaches. Visas for the 3 countries. We did Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania. Yes, you do need to book visas. I booked them before I came. You know, maybe you want to do it a little bit in advance. I think I did mine about 4 weeks. How I did it, which I can link below, is the Intrepid website links you to the visa sites, or if you're in Australia, go to Australia and Smart Traveller, and it's got the links to the relevant countries. It also just happened to be that when we got here, like a day before we were hitting Zanzibar, which is where I am right now. I've just finished a snorkel tour. We had to pay some extra fee, I don't know, just some dodgy business from Zanzibar, I think. But anyway, we had to pay some others. So the visas, I think, were about 50 Australian, so that's 3 visas. It's going to hit your back pocket, and then you got another visa, which is some insurance visa, when we came to Zanzibar. Health, yeah, get malaria shot. Maybe I'd suggest that, because I didn't. I kind of looked up the information, says do malaria, but I just didn't. Dumb on me, right? Yeah, anyway, I didn't do it, but I was able to get malaria tablets right here in a chemist in Kenya when I arrived. So if you didn't get the malaria tablets when you leave Australia, you can buy them here, and maybe it turned out to be cheaper getting it from here. And I didn't get sick. I haven't got sick. I didn't get sick. I haven't been sick, which is bonus for me. Money. Oh, it's a bit difficult to tell you about money. You bring money based on what your spending style is. But what I can give you an idea of is, from Australia, I was able to buy some Kenya shillings, and I bought some American dollars. I do have a preloaded travel card, and I did bring my credit card. And combining those three things, I have managed quite well. Used my credit card, used my travel card. How I did my money is I used the US dollars, and I did 2 exchanges for Tanzania and Uganda at the borders. That's what I suggest you do. The tour will stop at ATMs, etc, etc. But I just found it easier. I converted 100 American to Ugandan money, and I converted 150 US money into Tanzania, because I was going to be here the longest. Because the tour sometimes does meals, but not all the time. Look, maybe I could have needed a little bit more Ugandan dollars, and I maybe did use my card on and off. So that's just my suggestions. That's what I did, and I still got a few American dollars on me. I've still got some Tanzania shillings, and I got one more day to go. But I have used my credit card and my travel money card as well. Look, looking for ATMs or going to ATMs can be a bit scary in different countries. That's why I just personally exchanged my money at the border when we were crossing the borders. That's what I did, and it worked well for me. Most of the shops will take the shillings, they'll take US dollars, and they will take credit card. Not everywhere, so you will need maybe a combination of all of those things. There was one where, like, when you get money or you purchase money in your country, you probably get big bills, $100 notes. Yeah, it's like, yeah, how do we get around with that one? How do you make it smaller when everyone in your group is traveling and you're traveling with $100 notes? Because there are such things as tipping. You got to tip. Yeah, I'll cover that a little bit later. But we did find a bank. It was Naruk. They changed all, like, our group went into the bank. We took in, like, I exchanged like $400 worth of US dollars, and then they changed into like 20s, 10s, 5s and 1s. So that was bonus. That was that. If you come across a bank, maybe it might be worthwhile going into a bank to see if they will exchange big US notes to little US notes, because that helps out with tipping, etc, etc. The pre-arrival, Kenya. I arrived in Kenya one day before the tour was actually starting. It was actually good. I had one free day, basically. I did book my pre-accommodation with Intrepid, which actually is a good thing, because if the hotel changes, they just change your hotel with your booking. So if you were booking your hotel yourself, that doesn't move with Intrepid if that changes. So just FYI, if you're wanting to book pre-arrival, maybe book it with Intrepid, because if the hotel changes, they'll change your booking to that new hotel. I arrived one day early. I was too scared to go out of my hotel, because basically I was too scared. Kind of arriving in Kenya, it was a real culture shock. It's like, oh my God, it was a little bit scary. I arrived late at night. I was like driving from my transfer to the hotel. I was like, yeah, I'm not going out nowhere. I'm not going nowhere. But the next day, the hotel we were staying at, which was a Hotel Boulevard in Nairobi. It was just a hop, skip and a jump from the hotel to go to the museum. So yes, I went to the Nairobi Museum, and it's one of the best museums that I have been to. It was very interesting. It covers everything: history, the culture, animals. It was so fascinating, so interesting. They have thousands of birds in this country, and they're all so beautiful, well, except for some of the ugly flies. There's like some big ugly flies that's in the bird thing, but oh my god, you have to go to the Nairobi Museum. It was a rigmarole trying to get my ticket. I had to go from Arthur to Martha to James, Poole, Mary, Pope and whatever, but it's like I finally got in there and it was worth it. And there was like a snake reptile section, so add that to your ticket and go and see that as well, because yeah, that was a-okay. So highly recommend the Nairobi Museum. So basically, as I had said, you have an introduction, you meet your tour leader, and our leader happened to be Patrick. He was going to be spending 4 weeks with me. Oh, okay, God help him. No, I'm not that bad. I'm pretty easy to get on with. But anyway, Patrick was our tour leader, and you get a cook and a driver. Patrick, I'll give him a shout out now. Patrick was absolutely amazing. The things that he just kept us on track. Jumbo, Twende, why not? Nothing was a problem. Like, he was there to make your holiday the best. I did have one little meltdown at one point, which maybe I'll cover later. He explained it to me. He calmed me down, and then the next day I was good to go. So yeah, Patrick, if you are in Africa and you get Patrick, boom, you are in good hands. Patrick was the best tour guide that I've had. And with cook and a driver. So driver gets you from A to B to C to D to Z, B, whatever, around Africa in good time or not. You're going to experience lots of African massages. The roads are like crazy. So be prepared. You travel around in a big truck, an overlander. Plenty of seats. You're going to get African aircon. There is no aircon. It's you put the windows down. You're going to be in the bus a long time. Long hours. You're going to sleep on the bus. You get used to sitting in the bus. How we worked it on our first half of the tour is we took a seat and we just rotated one around. Makes it easier for everyone to know where they're sitting each day, right? But anyway, the next tour, it was hickledy-pickledy. Who knew what anyone was freaking doing? The first half of the tour, very well organised. Everyone just rotated, and we took our turns in each of the seats. So there's one seat that has like a big table. I think lots of people like that table because it's big, it's space, plenty of room. You can store your stuff up on the top. There's lockers. Buy yourself a lock, because the lockers come in handy. Like, I bought a ginormous suitcase, gigantic suitcase. You know, it didn't fit in the lockers. When they said on the travel notes the dimensions, did I ignore that? Not really, but I needed to travel because I travel with lots of stuff. Anyway, it didn't fit in, but I had a little wee spozzie under the chairs for my suitcase, and I used the locker for my day-to-day stuff. Anyway, lockers come in handy. As I said, this is a basics tour. So tent. The best thing I did was bring a pillowcase, and I bought a pillow from a shop, like early on, like day one. I think I had one night with a crappy blow-up pillow, which, yeah, that was not going to work for camping for 4 weeks, right? So I bought a pillow. Whew, I travelled with that pillow around Africa. I don't have it on me now because, you know, like, I'm staying in this nice hotel room, and after the tour ends, of course, you're not staying in a tent, right? And get garden gloves. Garden gloves. Now, do these look a little bit worn out? Yeah, these came in handy. The tents, There's clips on the tents. Oh my God, they're going to kill your fingers in a couple of days if you don't use these. Your hands will get muddy and dirty. So get some garden gloves, and also these do come in handy for the gorilla trek. So garden gloves, hot tip, get garden clips, because the clips are crazy hard. And these tents are a little bit different to the ones that I have had previously. You can actually stand up in this tent. And look, there's probably a lot of room, but there's no way I'm going to share a tent with someone else. So my single supplement was beneficial for me, just saying. So if you are not on a single supplement, you do get paired with someone else, but then you're going to be crammed into that little tent for whatever time you're on this tour with someone else. Just an FYI, single supplement or not, I took one. There are also upgrades. Upgrades are available at some of the camps that we stayed at. They are price dependent upon when you arrive. They take you for a little bit of a tour around the site, and if you decide to do an upgrade, you can. Yeah, I did take a couple on occasion. Look, we stayed in a dorm room for $10. Yeah, okay. When you're staying there and you've got early mornings, maybe you just want to take an upgrade. It's okay. You're on holiday. But yeah, it's dependent. Sometimes you can't get one, like we stayed in the Serengeti. You can't do an upgrade in the Serengeti, so you got to tough it out. Tough it out, mate. If some places you can't, some places there aren't upgrades, so you just got to tough out the tent. That's the one you booked, don't forget. Food. Be prepared to not lose any weight, because you get very well fed on this tour. Most of the itinerary covers food, breakfast, lunch and dinner. So yeah, it's wholesome food, basic food, meats, soups, lunches with sandwiches and fruit. The fruit's spectacular here. Avocado is delicious. Stews mainly, meats, breads, coffee in the morning. It's just, an instant coffee, but you're not going to lose weight here, so you're not going to starve. You're not going to come leaving here like a sack of bones, because that's not going to happen. In fact, I actually don't know how much weight I've put on, but I've put on a bit of weight since being here. And don't forget, you have to chip in, and you've got to help out with the duties, washing the dishes, drying the dishes. We do it flapping style. That's how they do it in Africa. You flap it because it's going to dry. They're very good with the cleanliness in this in the tour. In the bus, there's sprayed, when you spray your hands when you get on and off. They do have toilet paper in the bus, because sometimes you have to do bushy, or sometimes we're doing pit stops at not some desirable toilet locations. So always have that. Maybe have some tissues just in case you forget to take toilet paper with you from the bus, because you're going to need it. Some of the toilets are, yeah, a little bit. It's just a toilet. If you want to go, you got to go, right? So I don't really, we go in, it's like, oh God. But anyway, you got to go, right? So it's just going to happen, whether you like it or not. The bus does stop generally 2.5, 3 hours. I think there's one stage we were up to a long time. But look, if you want to do bushy, just yell out to Patrick or your tour guide saying, I need to go. And of course they'll stop. But yeah, long times on the bus, which means sometimes in between pit stops, it's a little bit of a drive. But don't forget bushy. Sometimes we pulled over on the side of the road and had lunch. That's where you might want to do bushy. Get lost out in the bushy somewhere. But yeah. Tipping. Oh, geez. Let me talk about tipping, for crying out loud. We don't tip in Australia, right? And there's tipping guides for the tours that you do. And then there's a tipping for like the cook and the driver and the leader. But not so much that wasn't an issue. It was just tipping your little local guides, because I think it's an expectation is they're expecting tips. Because we're not used to tipping, it's like, oh, how do you do it? So I know Patrick gives you a guide on how much you should tip. So you need little dollars and like maybe little US dollars. And who knows if we did the right thing or not did the right thing. But one thing I can say, which I stuffed up on, was when we did the gorilla trekking. They said that you got to tip your driver and you got to tip the guide. Well, I was only expecting like 2 people to tip. But when you're doing trekking with the animals, sometimes there's a guide, then there's this man at the front of your walking party and a man at the end of your walking party, and then there's trackers. You got to tip them all. It's like, oh my god, I didn't account for that. So here I was like borrowing off Peter to pay Paul, to rob Annie and Joe and Marie, and I was just borrowing off other people because it's like I didn't bring enough money on me on the tour because I left my money in the locker in the overlander. So it's kind of like, just ask questions. How many people will you need to look at tipping, and roughly how much? It's like, oh, I just whipped out some money and just went, yeah, here's some money. Like, I didn't even know if they tipped right, or they went, oh god, what a cheapo. So it's kind of like, the tipping is a wee bit weird. I mean, it's in for the guides themselves, which is Patrick, the cook and the cleaner. Some of the notes say 2 to 4. I've seen some 4 to 6. It's like, you tip whatever you want, but there is a minimum guide. Check your notes on the Intrepid website to give you a guide about what you should be reasonably tipping. But that's excluding your little, like I said, the gorillas. We had to tip 3 people who were taking us for the walk, and then when we got to the gorillas, because there was the trackers, we tipped them as well. And it's like, you just got to make sure you have little amounts of money, so you can just throw whatever you've got. Even if you don't know what it is, it might look like cheap because they know what their dollar value is, but you've given them something. So, and it just becomes a bit of an issue. I'm just saying, I can't even give you more advice than tipping is a little bit difficult in this country. You know, you're tipping someone. By the time we got to Zanzibar, we kind of knew there's people on the beach doing songs and dances. You just don't watch because you know you got to tip. That's kind of how it got like that. But anyway, tipping a little bit difficult. Just try and have little dollars, and just speak to the guide about how many people will be tipping and what. Just have little dollars, because anything is an appreciation in itself, even if it's one of these small dollar notes. Some highlights. I'm going to go through the main things. The gorillas. Okay, gorillas, which is one of the main reasons why I booked this tour. So no joke, gorilla trekking is hardcore. So if you are thinking about gorilla trekking, think about this. There's no such thing as a short hike or a long hike. You are trekking a gorilla or trekking an animal somewhere in their natural habitat. And nature is unpredictable. Quote those words, nature is unpredictable. We've heard that plenty of times on this trip, given that we're doing African safaris and you can't predict anything. But as I said, there is no such thing as a long hike or a short hike. Delusional to think that you put your hand up for the short hike and it turns out to be the long hike. Yeah, go figure. So you are just trekking an animal. You are going to see a gorilla, whether that be a long hike or a short hike. Oh my God, we were uphill and down dale. I would highly recommend hiring a porter, because you cannot predict the unpredictable. We actually had to Tarzan down a frickin' rock face. That's how crazy it got. You're walking up hills, you're walking down hills, you're walking through mud, through little creeks. You're actually going up and down like through the forest. And oh my God, having a porter helped out 100%. I think I would have died. No, I wouldn't have died. Like, I would have made it, but the thing is, it's like, it is seriously hard. So do not underestimate trekking a wild animal in its natural environment, because I did find the gorilla trekking very hard, and not that I cried, but whew, we did 9 kilometers. Well, that's what it registered on my phone, and I don't even track my kilometers. I'm just holding it. So maybe if I was actually literally tracking how far we did, it was probably going to be more than 9 kilometers. And it's not just a track. Some of it's a track, but then you go off into La La Land. So I'm just saying, no such thing as a long hike or a short hike when you're trekking a wild animal. It could be anywhere. But yes, when we got to the gorillas, we did see gorillas, but our gorillas were kind of like in the ravine. We did kind of get close. They were kind of in all the forest area, so they were kind of covered. So our experience went really quick, real fast, because you get 1 hour. You have to wear a mask because they have the same DNA. You only have to wear the mask during that 1 hour that you're with them. Oh, we had poles, they helped too. But yeah, the hour just went boom. It was gone. It was like, is that it? Like, I hiked all this way for that. Okay, it was an experience. I did see the gorillas. I seen them with my own 2 eyes, but it was hardcore for 1 hour. But anyway, that's what I signed up for. Nature is unpredictable, but just bear that in mind. I don't know what the trip notes say, but it does talk about trekking, and you could get a 10-minute walk, you could get a 2-hour walk. I think it was like 3 hours and 15 minutes before we even found a freaking gorilla. That's how hard it was. And then because we went right down to the bottom of the ravine, we had to climb out. But anyway, survived, because here I am talking to you fine folk in this vlog to tell you about my Gorillas Game Parks and Beaches tour with Intrepid. The game parks, Serengeti, the Maasai, and we actually did do Queen Elizabeth. That was on the first day. On the first day, I was already blown away because we seen rhinos. Rhinos walked past our truck. Seeing wild animals from a boat is a bonus. We didn't get that in Serengeti or the Maasai, but we did pay for a boat trip along the water, and that was boom. We're at day 1 or 2. And boom, we seen rhinos, we seen elephants from the water, we seen hippos in the water. Like, I was already blown away by that first little safari at the beginning of our trip, which was at like day 2 or 3, which is a game drive in. We stayed 1 night at this basic camp, and then we went out the next day, and as we're driving in and out, we kind of had a game drive. So that was pretty good. I was already impressed with that, because we didn't even need to get out of the overlander. We just drove there in the overlander, and we drove out. But Serengeti and the Maasai, yeah, I can't pick which one is better, because nature is unpredictable, and it's about what you're going to see on the day. It's not about, oh, you're going there to see a cheetah, you're going there to see an elephant. You might not see those things. But in the Maasai, I did a hot air balloon. In the Serengeti, I decided not to. But in the Maasai, which was the first one, there was one day on the tour, the safari tour, I wasn't safari satisfied. I had a little bit of a meltdown because our driver, in my opinion, our driver wasn't very good. You know, obviously nature is unpredictable. It's not about nature is unpredictable. It's like if you see an animal, you know there's an animal of some sort of coolness, because there's 100 million trucks or safari trucks around, so you know there's something good, right? So it's just about how your safari driver maneuvers around, so you get to see the animal for what you see through your eyes. When there's a million other vehicles competing to see those animals, you just got to take your time, be patient. Yeah, he was patient, I was patient. But then it's kind of like, we ran out of time, and then he had to go. It's like, no mate, I have not seen those cubs. Like, there's like 1 million cars, but because we've got to leave, it's like, mate, just go to the front, please go to the front. So bear with me, I'm not whinging, I'm not complaining, but a safari is about how you want to see it. Everyone has a different expectation about what they want from a safari. I've done one before, and so I was expecting huge things from the Maasai and Serengeti because I'd already done it in South Africa. But yeah, it was okay. The vehicles are fine. You just got to make sure your driver does what you want him to do. So, I mean, we've seen some lions. I think we've seen elephants. I didn't even know what we'd seen on that first day because I wasn't safari satisfied. That was basically a half day. We arrived a little bit later. We had an afternoon drive, and then the next day we were doing another one. We had the hot air balloon experience. It was a interesting flight. We were upside down, or sideways in our hot air balloon, and then we got takeoff. We've seen it from the air, but we didn't really see too many animals, except for right at the end. You've seen a solo little elephant, like a solo little giraffe. You know, it's just a lot of big open space. And then we had a champagne breakfast in the middle of the Maasai with our own toilet. Plenty of buffet food, so that was pretty good. So 2 days in the Maasai. The second day we went in, there was a highlight for me. We didn't see them kill this buffalo or this antelope or whatever it was, some big black animal. But the lionesses were eating this animal. And although we didn't see them kill it, it was like, yeah, it was pretty gruesome and pretty like, wow, that's not something I've seen with my own little eyes, watching a lion eat its own kill. And then what happened is there was lots of vehicles around there, and we had Patrick in our car. He was without us because I had that safari meltdown the day before. He was in our car. All the other little cars toddled off, and he said stay because the vultures will be coming. And guess what? He was right. The lionesses had gone, and this lion came running out of nowhere. Like, that was the highlight for me. This lion came running to protect the kill from those vultures that were coming in for that feed. So to say that Maasai, yes, I was safari satisfied, yes. So it is a thumbs up for the Maasai. Serengeti, let me touch on Serengeti. So we started with the Ngorongoro crater. Wow, there's a ton of animals in there. So that was technically a highlight because there's a whole bunch of animals in the one place at the same time. Zebras and buffaloes, hippos, they're all together, kind of just chilling out together. It's a crater that was formed as a result of a volcano. So it's this big like crater basically, and so the animals are down in this crater, formed billions of years ago, and kind of like they just hang in the crater. They don't go out of the crater. Once they're in the crater, they don't really go out of the crater. So basically we did a game drive through the crater. So you come down one way and then you exit out another way. So you're basically doing a game drive through the crater. So yeah, that was pretty good. We did see a little wet rhino. And look, the animals that I have seen truly has been amazing. I have seen animals that I haven't seen before. Animals that I haven't seen in in South Africa when I went. So to say that I haven't enjoyed this, that is wrong. I mean, I am absolutely safari satisfied. When you're doing Queen Elizabeth Park, you're doing Maasai and Serengeti, how can you not be safari satisfied? It's just about the expectation you have on yourself about what you want to get out of it. I like to take photos and I like to take videos. Yes, I am seeing animals through my own eyes, but I have this thing that I like to see. I like to get what I want to get out of it. Now, if you've not done a safari before, boom, you're going to be in for a treat. When you see one little giraffe or one little zebra by itself and you go, woohoo, whoop-dee. It's like, mate, let's just move on, because you're going to see like 50 of them like later on. So it's kind of like if you haven't done a safari and you see the first animal, boom, for me, it's like if I'm seeing a zebra, oh yeah, we're going to see plenty more of zebras. You're going to see lots of zebras, so don't get excited at the first zebra you see, because you'll see lots of zebras. You'll see lots of those antelopes. The things that you're going to see a lot of, you actually will see a lot of buffalo, because we actually did see a lot of buffalo. When you're by water, you're going to possibly see some hippos, but the ones that are elusive, you know, the leopard, the cheetah, the lionesses, and all these other little wee animals that you don't ordinarily see. I mean, even elephants, you do see them, but you don't see them everywhere you go. Like Queen Elizabeth, I think we didn't see them there because there weren't any. But different natures at different places. So your guide will tell you, you won't see this here, you might see this. But we have seen all 5 of the big 5. Do you know what the big 5 is? Elephant, lion, leopard, buffalo, and the rhino. God, how did I've been in Africa for 4 weeks, how did I not know that? But we have seen the big 5. The first couple of days we've seen 2 rhinos as they walked across our overlander. We did see one at the Ngorongoro crater. It was way in the distance, but you could see the horn. He was hiding way over there. And we did see a couple of leopards. Oh, I forgot to say, we did see a leopard at Maasai. Boom, she was wandering through the cars. The one that we've seen in Serengeti was perched up a tree. A gazillion cars watching. That leopard weren't moving. He was just sitting in the tree, not doing nothing. But we've had some really amazing cheetah experiences. We've seen some lionesses with some baby cubs. We didn't see any gory stuff. But you know, it's about what you see on the day. Nature is unpredictable, so you don't know what you don't know. You're just going to be driving around and you're going to see what you see on a safari. But yeah, tick to all the game drives we did. I am safari satisfied. You will be too. Does it compare with Africa? Look, to be honest, they are better than Africa, Serengeti and the Maasai. If you were here for that Great Migration, you would be blown away. We didn't quite make it. We're here in October. We were in the Serengeti for 2 nights. We were sleeping where the wild roam. And literally, if I'm not mistaken, and unless someone in our group snores like a purring cat, meaning a lion went through our camp when we were there on one of the nights. So what had happened is we could hear the wildlife when we were by our campfire. We could hear a lion over there roaring away, claiming its territory. Then I'm sure I heard it purring around our tent. Now apparently we were told we would be safe, which we are, because I'm still alive, right? I didn't get eaten by a lion. We would be safe because the lion won't get you because they can't see you. Well, they could probably sniff me. They probably like this nice kiwi meat, but I survived. And I could hear it purring around our freaking camp. And then the next day we heard it over here. So here to here, it's got to go somewhere in the middle, right? So it went through our camp. And just FYI, I woke up in the Serengeti on my birthday and I survived. So yeah, who can say that they have woken up in Serengeti on their birthday? Well, I can, because I woke up in Serengeti on my birthday and I survived. There was actually another lady in our group. How coincidental is that? Someone else on our tour also celebrated their birthday. I'm a little bit older. She's a young whippersnapper, but in saying that, Intrepid do celebrate people on their birthday. I'll go into that a little bit later. But yeah, it felt good to be waking up in the Serengeti on my birthday. We had a great couple of days in the Serengeti, ticked off some beautiful experiences, nature being unpredictable, but I was happy that I came, I saw with my own eyes, got some photos, some videos, and boom, safari satisfied. beaches part of this tour. Zanzibar. We ended in Zanzibar. So we came through Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. We stayed there one night. Just as well we had a freaking our guide with us, because getting from Dar es Salaam on that ferry was just crazy. It's chaotic in Zanzibar, getting through, clearing their sort of customs, so to speak. No organisation. It's chaos. But we had to get from Dar es Salaam via the overlander to a ferry over to a car or a van that picked us up. That van through traffic, then quite a luxurious transfer ferry from Dar es Salaam to Zanzibar. The ferry is actually quite nice. Our guide knew, boom, we're in early, get to the front, aircon in that room. So yeah, it was about an hour and a half and we made it to Zanzibar. So that kind of ends out the tour in Zanzibar. We have one night in Stone Town and then we have 2 nights in the northern beaches. And I highly recommend that if you are spending or doing that longer tour, like I did 27 days, I am currently still in Zanzibar. I have booked myself 3 extra nights and I treated myself to a luxury resort. Yep, after 4 weeks on the road camping in a tent, a couple upgrades, I stayed longer. I didn't just end the tour and boom, I'm out of here. Don't do that. Stay extra in Zanzibar. It is absolutely beautiful. I am not even a beach person. I was never even going to get in the water in the northern beaches, and it's like I was just in it the whole time. It is beautiful. I didn't realise how nice it was. It was nice and relaxing at the end of a safari for 4 weeks, just to relax. No overlander, no long days in the bus. You're just chilling on a beach. Just an FYI, there's lots of Maasai men trying to sell you things. There's people on the beaches trying to sell you things. You're in your luxury resort right on the beach. We stayed at the Sunset Bungalows, and that literally is right on the beach. Here's our little wee deck chairs. There's the beach right there. Some of the other resorts up the north, their beach is like miles. You gotta you gotta hike to the water before you get to the water. But our bungalows, or not our bungalows, our seats were here. We just had like a 5-second walk. We had to tackle those Maasais and all those people selling things to get to the water. But once you're in the water, oh my God, it was so nice. Never been in a beach that good, even on the Gold Coast. These ones beat the Gold Coast, I think. The water was nice and blue and white. The sand is white and beautiful. But then I thought, well, if I'm going to the northern beaches, I'm going to treat myself. I'm going to go to a different part of the island. So I am currently in Jambiani. Yep, I'm in Jambiani. The beach is a little bit different here. It's a little bit rocky on the beachfront, but I booked my own resort. Like, I don't need to leave this place, and that's what I intended it to be. I've booked myself in at the Blue Moon Resort, and I cannot recommend it high enough. Like, I've booked myself a pool suite room, pool room 2, and I have my own private pool. I have Netflix on the TV. I have Alexa. She's probably gonna pipe up now. Alexa in the background to play me music if I want. Aircon. There's like literally no one here at this resort. It's like there's this big pontoon with its own infinity pool. There's so many places just to relax, chill. The food is nice. Obviously I'm not looking forward to my bill when I actually leave, because I think it's going to be horrendous. Like, I've been getting cocktails and food, and obviously we went on a snorkel tour this morning to the Blue Lagoon. Yeah, that was pretty good. I needed to get out of the hotel because, you know, I can't just stay here. This one's a little bit secluded. Most tourists go to Paji, and I did go through Paji, and yeah, chaotic, busy. So I can recommend spending extra time at the end of your tour and stay in Zanzibar, because whilst you're here, you might as well make the most of it, like I have. So yeah, this tour you can do it in reverse. So we started at Gorillas and ended in beaches. You can go beaches to Gorillas. You can do it in the reverse. But I reckon you do it the way I do it because you're ending in the beaches. Don't start in the beaches being all relaxed and then you got to do all your safari. Just washing clothes is like, oh my God. Get used to wearing clothes multiple times. Yes, you can do washing at some points in this tour, but it's long bus days and most times we're only seeing one night at most of the places. So you really couldn't do washing. It's just like washing it in the bathroom, in the shower, in your tent space, but trying to dry it is like, yeah, it doesn't happen. So expect again to wear your clothes multiple times and on occasion get to do washing. So the things in between, so I did book some of the extra excursions which I'm just going to run through. So at the second day I think I booked the river cruise, and yeah, I definitely highly recommend that one because we've seen hippos and we've seen a beautiful bunch of elephants come down to the water. So anything where there's potential to see an animal in the water, it's a different experience as per a game drive, because water animals do things differently at waters. And there's this bunch of elephants weren't going to come down the water because there was a bunch of hippos, but they just walked up a little bit further and then they came down to the water, so that was top notch. The chimp trek, I did a chimp trek which was earlier on in Kalinanzo Park Reserve. Look, that was, I don't know, nature unpredictable. You could see the chimps high up in the trees, like they didn't come down except for one little wee sucker that came down, like we were finished up basically, so he came down for 2 seconds, boom, if you weren't quick enough you weren't going to see him. But look, it's about nature is unpredictable. It's certainly worth doing, but if they're just up in the trees you really can't see it because it's first thing in the morning and the lighting was just crap, so you could see them but you couldn't really see them, but we still did it. And that trek was all on like one little pathway and then just a little bit off, so it wasn't anything drastic. I wasn't freaking out that this is exhausting, that I didn't want to do it. Golden monkey trekking, that was after the gorilla trekking, and I booked it and paid for it, and then I got to the second hill and I just broke down. PTSD. I went, oh my God, if this is trekking like the gorillas, I don't want to do it. As it turned out, it wasn't like that. The golden monkey trekking was just on a path. Yes, we have to do a little bit off bush, but it was not like uphill and down dale and uphill and down dale. It was just through the bush, there was a few hills, but nothing strenuous. So just saying, I just cried momentarily because I was thinking, God, if it's hills like the gorilla trek, I can't do it. And I'd already done chimp trek, then 2 days later gorilla trek, and then the next day the golden monkey trek. But yeah, the golden monkey trek, oh, there were so many golden monkeys everywhere, so that was pretty spectacular. The Nile cruise, you don't really do that one because you go to the source of the Nile where some river connects to the Nile, and it just shows the difference in flowing water. You're going to see some nature, some birds, you're going to have a drink, but nothing too fab. We did a bug water adventure. It's not as extreme as whitewater rafting, but yeah, that wasn't an Intrepid endorsed one, but when we got to a drift camp, they offer some tours. The ones that Intrepid had endorsed, this one wasn't, but we still did it and we had a fun time. Didn't flip out of the little bug, but yeah, I would do that. I don't know if I was going to be game on doing whitewater rafting anyway, but a couple of the other crew did, and yes, they flipped the boat. Now, and just saying that, you don't have, like, when you get the Intrepid itinerary, it says highly recommended to book all these before you go. You don't need to. Like, I never booked any of the tours before I went, even the hot air balloon. I just booked it when I got here. You speak to your guide, he does all his talking. Patrick, I want to do the hot air balloon, he just does all this calling around, gets his chums together, boom. So it's up to you, but I didn't need to book any of these things. I just paid for it the day, or I rocked up, said I want to do it, and then basically I'm doing it. The Maasai hot air balloon, yeah, that was very, very expensive. Because there's 2 opportunities, pick your number, which one. Serengeti was dearer. I did want to do that, but because I did the Maasai, there was a big group of us that did it, and one of our crew, Ed, he celebrated his birthday on that day. So I kind of went, I'll do the Maasai, let's see how I go. If I want to do Serengeti, I could, but I decided I'm just doing one hot air balloon. It was an experience. 4:30 wake up call. You're flying over the Masai Mara. Are you going to spot any animals? Nature is unpredictable. Stonetown walking tour. Yeah, we're in Stonetown. I did do the walking tour. It gives you your bearings. Stonetown is absolutely beautiful. Like, yeah, all these little wee walkways, scary ones sometimes, but not in a group. We did the walking tour. He gave us an insight. We went into Stonetown. There's a history about the different types of doors, the round ones and the square ones, and I've already forgotten. One is Arab and one is Indian. I've already forgotten. I know. Safari brained out. I'm at the end of my tour, so I'm kind of forgetting things. We went to the Slave Museum. Oh my God, that's an eye-opener. We went down into the slave bungalow thing where the slaves were kept. That was quite eerie. The Stonetown, I didn't find scary at all. Like, maybe at night time if you're by yourself, be a bit cautious, but we were out, just a couple of us by ourselves, and we weren't scared at all. Some people had their stores open. I am going back to Stonetown for one more night before I head back to Australia. But Stonetown, beautiful. Stay some extra time, have another night in Stonetown, because we only stayed one night there for the tour. Probably wasn't long enough just to explore a little bit more. There's so much more to do here, like so many different tours, spice tours, Prison Island, turtles. I can't do it all because I just wanted to relax at the end of my holiday. You know, when I said I celebrated my birthday, it just happened to be I woke up in Serengeti, and on that particular night we had a dinner at a local mama's house. A little bit of a highlight is we had a walking tour through, now I don't know the name, Mota Umbo. I'm going to tell you, put the name here because I can't remember how to say it. We stayed there one night. We went to Serengeti for 2 nights. We came back to that same campsite for the final night. It happened to be my birthday and Tania's birthday, and we went to a local mama's house for dinner. I don't know what I was expecting, but I was kind of thinking, when I was walking through the village, and I'm thinking, oh God, I hope we don't get anything yucky. I'm not being rude, I'm just very picky with my food. But the dinner was absolutely delicious, like so many authentic dishes made by a local mama's house for dinner, and then we got celebrated with a birthday cake. So Intrepid do celebrate birthdays so that you feel special. So that was pretty awesome, waking up in Serengeti and having a local dinner at a local mama's house with a birthday cake. So boom, well done Intrepid. The Usambara walking tour, again, you're going to be walking 15 kilometers, and some of it's uphill. We were walking through a local village. We just randomly stopped at some local's house who was doing pumping some sugar cane. We chipped in. We just did that. We walked through their village. We did a walk to some lookout. Happened to be very overcast, so we didn't really see any lookout, but that lookout was basically, we had driven the overlander up the mountains for this particular day, and the reason it stops in Usambara mountains is it breaks up the journey from our last pit stop to Dar es Salaam, because that's where we needed to be. But yeah, the 15-kilometer walk in Usambara mountains is a little bit hard. It is just walking through streets, so it's not any off-road tracks or anything, but yeah, a little bit hard. 7.5 kilometers there, 7.5 kilometers back. A couple of us cheated, we caught the cab back, and yeah, that was me. Yeah, I caught the cab back, we chipped in for a cab. But that's okay, I'm on holiday, right? I'm on holiday. But the upgrades there, I didn't do an upgrade there, but some people did do some upgrades in Usambara Mountains, and apparently they were nice. I didn't look because I wasn't going to upgrade. The Masai Mara little wee village. Look, it was a different type of experience. We went to this lady who's fighting against FMG. I'm not going to say what it is on here, but it is a lady that has taken in a group of young widows of Maasai, because in their culture there's some specifics. Once females are married to a Maasai, they can't remarry. The kids there were so cheerful. They make their little houses. The women do everything. It takes them like 3 months to build a little house. We went in the little house, and it's like people live in those little wee houses, like 4 people, and it looked barely the size of even this room that I'm in. This room is huger than the houses of the Maasai. But that was an experience, something different. Like just everything, like not being naive or me being like unknown or whatever, but it is a real culture difference. Just driving in the overlander every day and just seeing the streets, the side of the streets, and how people are living. Like obviously it's a lot different to what we have in Australia, so we should be thankful for what we have, which I am. The children are so cheerful, very happy, always saying hello, waving. It's just a blessing to think that these children only know what they know, but they are so happy. It's kind of humbling a little bit, isn't it? But yeah, Africa has actually been a real adventure. It's kind of like, you know, there's also like the people that you meet along the way, like the people that I've been on this tour with. You know, sometimes you don't always get the right group of people, but you're going to get a group of people, and it's about how you interact and how you mesh with people. And I guess what I can say is we've had a great group of people. No one hasn't been included, like everyone is included. You know, some people might ruffle people's feathers. I'm sure I ruffled people's feathers, especially when I had my safari meltdown. But get over it. Move on. Africa is an adventure. You're on holiday. And like, I get over things anyway. You know, Africa has been an adventure, and there's it saying TIA, this is Africa. And sometimes I refer to it as Tira, this is really Africa, because it's definitely been an adventure. It's not one that I'm going to forget anytime soon, and it's like kind of weird to feel like I'm actually going to start crying, because it's like I've been away for a very long time. Like I've been gone for almost 6 weeks, and I'm about to end my holiday here, and I can really say that I have had the time of my life. I don't really want to go home. Gee, I need to stop crying. But it's like it's been like I've been in this little unit by myself. You know, I'm by myself in this nice, luxurious, romantic setting, and I'm by myself. I do like to travel by myself, but you know, not even say it would be nice to have a person here, because sometimes, you know, you just want to be by yourself. But Africa is a feeling. It is like, it is the most wonderful adventure that I have had in a long time. So I would highly recommend that you book this trip. Do you have the money? Probably not. But just do it. Book a small tour and go on an African safari. You will not regret it. It's like, I kind of thought that I'd finish this tour and I would not come back to Africa, but gee, I think I might need to come back, because it has been an absolute blast. Not been scary at all. I wouldn't do it by myself. Like, I'm here by myself, but I don't need to leave this resort. But in Zanzibar, I felt safe. I'm back to Stonetown tomorrow, and I'll be flying back to Australia. You know, Africa is not a feeling. It is an adventure. It truly is. I have waffled on for way too long, and I've probably forgotten something, but as usual, if you want to know anything, comment below. Stay extra nights in Zanzibar, because I've been living it up here. Even transfers to and between the islands, like I've booked private transfers with the Intrepid people, and I felt safe. But yes, go book your African safari today. Intrepid Travel, highly recommend. Loved everything about it. Waffled on for way too long. Probably, as I said, haven't covered everything. But as usual, peeps, if you have liked this vlog, give me a like and a thumbs up. Please do subscribe to my channel. Comment below if you want to know anything. I'm finished with the tears, so I'm gonna say until the next vlog, peeps, booyah. We have seen all 5 of the big 5. Do you know what the big 5 is? Let me make sure I got it right. The elephant, the buffalo, the lion, that one, the leopard, oh my god, and what was the other one? The elephant. Did I say elephant? Buffalo, the leopard, the rhino. Oh my god, I've even forgotten the top 5. But the top 5 are did we see the top 5? Of course we did. We see the top 5. So did we see the big 5? Absolutely. The big 5. Now let me, if I can get that, I might be just a little bit delusional. So we've got elephant, buffalo, the, what's that spotted one called? The, oh my god, the leopard, the leopard. How am I not, oh my god, elephant, lion, leopard, buffalo, and the rhino. God, how did I, I've been in Africa for 4 weeks, how did I not know that? But we have seen the big 5.